Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time to review the sophomore album Punisher by the emo, folk, alternative, and indie artist Phoebe Bridgers. Phoebe Bridgers and I didn't exactly get off on a good foot, considering the first exposure I had to her was her feature on the very not good album Notes on a Conditional Form by the 1975. However, I decided to give her a fair shot, as any good music fan or critic would do, and I was kind of blown back after discovering that it's really not anything like that cheesy-ass song. She rightfully gained a cult following after the release of her debut album Stranger in the Alps in 2017, a record that, after checking out this new one, I had to go back and hear. After learning that she's been a part of so many different projects, from boygenius to better Oblivion Community Center with Conor Oberst of Bright Eyes fame, she's gotten around, and she's incredibly talented. There's just always an impending sense of doom hanging in the air when you listen to her music. There's doom metal, why not doom emo or doom folk? When you listen to the music of Phoebe Bridgers, I feel like you have to go in expecting to be unnerved in some way, because some of the lyrics are incredibly dark, they're poignant, they're striking, they're not always autobiographical, but they're almost like darkly humorous. It's something where she comments on a lot of different situations and feelings, whether that be a relationship, a societal problem, and it all feels incredibly relevant, but not to the point where it's so on the nose and too overly descriptive. One of the best qualities of Phoebe Bridgers' music is the fact that it does feel like it can fit the context and mold for many different situations. It might mean something different to you than it does to her or to me as we listen. The scope of Punisher is quite large, given the fact that it does flow together so well. It's tight, it's compact, it's right around 40 minutes. But also, she touches on everything from electric guitars to fiddles to a little bit more of a twang on tracks like Graceland 2. And of course, you've got the more somber tunes that bring in the strings. The arrangements on this album are quite flawless. I think a lot of listeners will agree with me when I say that I appreciate the pace changes and the little moments of relief in the agitation. Even if the song isn't necessarily upbeat and happy lyrically, I appreciate that there are songs like Kyoto or even Chinese Satellite, where she's struggling with her faith, wanting to believe in something bigger, but she sets it to a bit more of an upbeat tune. Phoebe's songwriting is impeccable and sharp, and the fact that she has this short list of collaborators that you can tell she really thoroughly vetted to bring certain people in, everybody from Nick from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs to, again, Julien Baker singing backup vocals, or Conor Oberst coming in on the final track alongside a plethora of other voices. It all works so well. There's chemistry among these people, but obviously the shining star at the center of it all is Phoebe Bridgers. As I sat down to listen to Punisher for the first time, DVD menu comes on, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's only a minute, it's clearly just going to be an opening track, something that's purely instrumental, but this song actually stirred something in me. This is not your typical opening track. It brings something to you where it feels like a shadow is coming behind you and it's just going to do something to you, affect you in some way. And as we move from that into the second track, Garden, I have to say that is one of the best transitions song to song that I've seen all year. Speaking of Garden song, wow, that is an example of something dark. She talks about murdering someone, a skinhead, obviously somebody who's not a very good person in society, and uses it as kind of an allegory, saying, I am going to plant something beautiful where the hate once was. The lyrics and the overall instrumentation of this song is so rich, it's impossible not to fall into. One of the most commendable things about this record is that there's not necessarily a weakest link that I can easily point to and say, this should have not made the cut or scrap this from the track list. Even the middle section, where we get some more brooding tracks, like the title track, obviously Punisher, in addition to Halloween, those come as a back-to-back combo. Still, even though that does have that impending sense of something bad is about to happen, you want in on the action, you can't look away. Especially Halloween, I love the allusions to what's going on right now, the metaphors for the coronavirus, and even the mask with Halloween. Even though it probably wasn't that intentional, it lines up uncannily well. Phoebe Bridgers herself noted that Moonsong and Saviour Complex kind of go as a two-piece as they come back-to-back as tracks 7 and 8, and I totally agree with this. Moonsong in particular really rips out a black beating heart and shows it to you as she talks about doing anything, just waiting until she's wanted again, like a dog carrying a bird and just dropping it off at your doorstep. Oddly enough, even though I love tracks like Kyoto that are just so catchy, great guitars, great drumming, so much percussion on this record that I do like, the second half is even stronger than the first. That starts with Chinese Satellite. As I mentioned before, she struggles with her faith, and I think that this has to be probably about Julien Baker, considering that she is a Christian, somebody that believes. They toured together, they're friends, but Phoebe here talks about how she can't believe in something bigger. She looks up at the night sky and feels nothing. And I understand that feeling, I don't agree, but I empathize 110%. And it's so catchy, so well done. That chorus really just smacked me upside the face because I didn't expect it at all. Obviously, the streak continues considering I've talked about a few of the others, but the final three tracks on this record, I See You, Graceland 2, and I Know the End, are all incredible. There's this heightened sense of emotion that I just haven't felt from too many records this year, even though it's been a fantastic year for music despite the odds and the circumstances. But Graceland 2 talks about somebody who's bounced back from being in a psych ward, being on the edge of taking their own life, and then just going out and running, not knowing what's in front of them. The fiddles on this track, oh my god, the alternative country sound is making my head pop. Gorgeous, beautiful, breathtaking arrangements not only pop up on that song, Graceland 2 probably being my second favorite, but this closing track, I Know the End, is unreal. I haven't experienced a piece of music that's moved me like this, especially upon first listen, in quite some time. It is so damn beautiful. It knows what's coming and knows exactly what it's doing, but it doesn't feel calculated. As they bring in more and more orchestration, more guitars, and get louder, the drums pound away, it's something that I truly hope that you'll experience for yourself. What can I say? Phoebe Bridgers really impressed me with this. After going back and checking out her debut, Stranger in the Alps, I think this is an improvement, even though that was a really solid album. I can't wait to check out more of her works, including her collaborations. As far as my rating for Punisher goes, I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5, and a very strong recommendation that I hope you will take. I'm so glad that I checked this one out. Phoebe Bridgers really does have an incredible voice, and I can't wait to see where her career goes, what the future holds for her. Check out the record. There's a link to stream it in the description down below. There's a couple of recent reviews floating on screen here. All of my socials, including my Patreon, if you want to help support the content financially, those can be found in the description down below. And other than that, I will see you soon for more right here on ARTV.